Leave your comments on the Ask Reddit sub, and I'll read your answers on the next episode of LWIAR. Redditors who work at remote places like forest offices, oil rig workers, etc. What creepy things have you noticed while at work? I used to work at a Boy Scout summer camp. Every week I had to take a big group of campers to a secluded spot for their wilderness survival badge where they had to build a shelter out of sticks, leaves, etc. and sleep in it overnight. The spot was only about 1/2 mile from the main camp, but we took them a circuitous route that made it seem really secluded. Anyways, on this one night all the campers had made their shelters. We had cooked dinner, and were all just sitting around the campfire. It was getting late, maybe 11 o'clock, so I sent all the campers to their shelters for the night and started cleaning up the fire. That's when we heard in the distance what sounded like church bells. They were pretty faint, but myself and my fellow staffers could definitely hear them. They went on for about 30 minutes, ringing every 30 seconds or so. We were all a little creeped out, as there were no churches or towns within 20 miles of us. After the bells stopped, though, the singing started. It was too faint to hear the words, but it sounded like church choir music, but a lot of people, and a lot more enthusiastic. Also, it was almost midnight at this point. The singing went on for well over an hour, sometimes quieting down until we almost couldn't hear it, sometimes getting so loud we thought it was getting closer. All of the campers were super creeped out, but I lied to them, telling them there was a church service going on in camp, and that there was nothing to be scared of. Eventually, at almost 1 a.m., the singing stopped. I found out a few days later that there had been a large KKK rally only a few miles away that night. And that's what we had heard. Good one. I was freaked out in the middle of this. 4 hours of KKK members singing Free Bird and Sweet Home Alabama. Pretty good chance, but not 100% chance. I'll still take it. Yup, near Lexington, VA, in 2004 or 2005. You didn't clarify if you're talking about the camping trip or Klan rally. Yes. I remember going there, got my wilderness survival badge at Camp Marriott. Almost wholesome. I worked for a guy that spearfished underneath the rigs out in the Gulf. He said it was perfect since there were tons of fish underneath, and the sharks would never go between the legs. Just wait for a fish to leave. Plus the view was amazing, looking down and seeing nothing but abyss. He loved it. I can only imagine how scared I would be. And the sharks would never go between the legs until they do. Amateur, and I find this thread terrifying. I'm in but and wait. The goats who stare at men. Occasionally biking out in the desert, I'll stop and get a drink, and realize that there's a cow within 50 feet of me laying in a cow-sized patch of shade, or standing partly behind a rocky outcropping. It's unsettling how anything weighing half a ton can just blend in, especially when it's certainly aware of me long before I'm aware of it. And who knows how many times I haven't even noticed Ninja Cow's edit. Holy cow, thanks for my first awards and my most upvoted comment. Don't be silly, this is space, it has to be a sphere. Bez, Beats, Battlestar Galactica edit, well, thanks for the gold. I used to be a delivery driver, which doesn't sound very remote because it isn't. However, I did have to deliver to some pretty remote places. One time I delivered to a trailer park just barely inside our designated delivery zone, and it was very dark and poorly lit. I leave my car running and keep the headlights and inside lights on to go deliver the pizza. Upon returning to my car, I sit down in the driver's seat and look up to see a creepy old man standing less than 3 feet from my side of the car. He was just staring. It was the equivalent of a jump scare. I just started driving forward. Had to do a U-turn to get out of the park. When I turned around, the man was standing in the middle of the road. So I freaked out for a second before speeding around him, only to watch him attempt to chase my car out of the trailer park. I put in my 2 weeks after that. Damn, and creepy as hell. Did you tell your co-workers about it? Sounds like he was trying to give more than just the tip. You reminded me of something creepy that happened to me. I also used to be a delivery driver, but for a supermarket in the UK. A lot of our customers were in the middle of nowhere, and my last delivery of the night was a new customer I'd never been to before. I was already running late from all my previous deliveries and I was still trying to find this house at 10:30 p.m. even though my shift was supposed to finish at 10 p.m. I'm driving around the narrowest of country roads with nothing surrounding me but dark fields and hedgerows, looking for anything that might be a driveway. I hadn't seen another car or person for miles. Then all of a sudden I hear a loud thud on the side of my van. Like something was thrown at it. No trees or anything else around for something to fall from. And I remember it specifically hitting the side. I looked in my mirrors and out the window but there was nothing around me. Then it happened again. Another thud on the side of my van. I drove back to the supermarket so fast and told my manager that I couldn't find the place. I had spent 30 minutes looking. To be fair, there was no house where the listed address postcode took me. If there had been a house there, they would have called and complained about not getting a delivery. So you know it was some kind of a setup. That's what I thought. And I was never told that they phoned up to complain about their missing items and they were never attempted to redeliver. I think they were contacted to provide better directions to their address but were never heard from again. The weird part is they had to place the order and pay for their delivery items first. And at the time the shop had a minimum spend of £60 for deliveries. So if it was a prank it was an expensive one. Also, the only thing around for miles was empty fields. And the only place someone could have hidden was within or behind a hedgerow. So if it was a human they must have been hiding in a freezing cold hedgerow for over an hour since my delivery was supposed to be scheduled for 9:30 p.m. You 100% avoided being murdered. Congratulations. You would have survived a horror movie. It poses me off that in horror movies people go to check. Like even if it's isn't a spooky mean man. It could be a dangerous wild animal. Also, you have a vehicle. Why not just run the killie over or drive away? I have a theory that people in horror movies don't have horror movies so they don't know what to do. When the horror starts happening, we have the luxury of seeing what to do and what not to do. Our movies are like training simulators. The people within them, with obvious exceptions, don't have access to our movies so they don't have the same training we have. I never thought about that. Geez, shudders. I tried to decipher the animal but I couldn't. In that area there are wolves, wolverines, deer, brown and black bear, otters, foxes, mink, martin, ermine, and a handful of others. It sounded like a medium-sized animal. So it was probably a deer killing a bear. Trout attacks on bears are much more rare. Not unheard of though. I used to do agricultural work. Alone in a field for 10 hours a day kind of thing. The pure amount of times I heard a sound of running and snapped up to see literally nothing there was horrific. I was convinced it was surely animals between the trees for a while but the weirdest moment was when I heard it loudly from a row of trees next to me and immediately ducked under to see the feet of whatever animal was running by and there was absolutely nothing. I remember trying to stay calm and walking really fast to the toilet block and sitting in there for a good long while before I came back. I never thought I'd be so freaked out in the daytime but there wasn't a soul nearby for quite a way and it really amped up my imagination. This and raccoons. I grew up afraid of the dark and my grandparents both had fairly large pieces of land. The one grandmother always had some horror movie playing. A lot of Yeti, Bigfoot, Sasquatch stuff. Needless to say 10-year-old Kiltech would sprint from the car to the house every night we'd get there and I was sent to fetch the bags. Worst anxiety in the world being told, "Hey Kiltech, go get this from the car for me," after we pulled in late on a Friday. Only other fun story I have is that raccoons used to claw at the back window late at night at my other grandmother's house. You'd see the light reflecting off their eyes and I always slept on their couch beside those windows. I was always waiting to shine a light at them and it'd be something other than a raccoon. Y'all know, like Bigfoot. I had a pretty dope childhood, full of imagination. Was this out near Cuba PD? Freaking weirdos up there, I tell ya. I went on a fossicking road trip and on my way up, there was a guy rolling around on the road in 46-degree heat. Just casually rolling on the road. Edit. It's Celsius not Fahrenheit. It was near Roxby Downs. That whole area is strange. I have friends who went out that way for FIFO work. They avoided the locals and said they came across some type of cult out there. Not a place I'd want to visit. Probably Pat Mullen. I do a lot of work out in the woods. Creepiest thing was finding some headless doves. I also found sticks arranged in circles and paint on the trees in the same spot. Not sure if it was part of a ritual or not, but that's what I saw. Edit. Okay, lots of great points, but it could have been just wildlife or cats catching the doves. That's totally possible. I've seen cats do that before too. To add some more context, the type of doves found were not native to this area. It's possible they escaped or were released and had a run-in with a hungry house cat. And the painted circle of trees and sticks nearby was coincidence. Who knows? I certainly don't know what really happened, so it's all speculation. It's still the weirdest, creepiest thing I've ever found. I've found altars, painted trees, pentagrams laid out in the dirt, pentagrams made from string between trees. I don't care if you want to pray to Beelzebub or whatever the frick crap you got going on. Just don't litter and destroy wildlife. Hey man, I get it. You gotta do what you gotta do to try to bang that weird but kinda hot Wiccan cat girl in high school. Cats like to do this. Years back, when I was staying with my parents, they were having the roof on their screened porch replaced. They also owned 2 cats which had access to the porch via cat door. The screens didn't need to be removed for the roof replacement, so the cats would still go out, being they weren't the kind of cats to scale a screen to get out. Anyway, one day I came home to find 3 small, headless birds, 2 in the living room and 1 in the bedroom. At first I thought some twisted sicko had been in there and I was ready to GTFO of there. Then I saw more of these little birds swooping down into the porch. I guess a few of them just swooped a little too low. I didn't know sweet little house kitties were stealth murderous bastards, but they really are. I still love them though. I didn't know sweet little house kitties were stealth murderous bastards. All cats are murder hobos. They'll wander into an area, kill everything they can, then mosey on to the next area. Well, if you found it, there isn't exactly a 0 chance a human did it. You could have done it. In fact, crap, you don't remember, do you? He's a security guard at Best Buy. I hunt you. We can literally see you, bud. I hiding. Go away. Cat. Shoo. You're not fooling anyone. I stealthy. No. Go away. I am detected. I retreat slowly. You live this day. And I go elsewhere. There it goes. Hey, shine that light to make sure it actually left. I shine, I hunt you. I read this in J.R. Goss' voice and cracked the frick up. I was on guard duty at Camp Phoenix on the outskirts of Kabul in 2011. It's a 12-hour shift and it started at 7 p.m. Around 2 a.m., I could hear what sounded like footsteps running all around the guard tower. Promptly set my butt hairs on end, so I pull out my night vision and pray that it's some kids or something. I crap you not. There must have been 2 or 3 pairs of dogs humping each other at the same time. Edit. Y'all are messed up asking for the photo. Man, who do you think I am? Of course I will. Imager.com. Disclaimer. Most of these photos are mine. Some are not, but from people in my unit. And some contain very meaningful and impactful backstories. Serious. It's all safe for work. Also, I bury the dogs in like 150 photos. So good luck, you sick bastards. Edit 2. Another link due to the interest Mongolians and the French. Imager.com. Same here. I've got a picture somewhere through NVG2. I was there for a long time. From April 2011 to July 2012. The things you do to keep yourself sane. Edit. Imager.com. I'll make an effort, but it's literally dog porn in NVG. So you're asking for dog porn essentially. Dude, you produced it. Don't blame the consumers. I've been fishing out in the Gulf of Mexico where they have some oil rigs. This rig wasn't being used, from what we knew, so we would get pretty close to it to fish for red snapper. While we were out there, we could have sworn we heard screams of a woman over and over. It was some crap, but the explanation was the wind making the noises as it blew through the rig. Well, that's what we were told, but it totally creeped us the frick out. Rigs can make pretty scary noises. I had some shifts on a satellite platform and the wind would make scary noises at night. Thanks for watching LWIAR, the best of recent r/AskReddit submissions and comments. If you like this video, check out LWIAR too, and don't forget to like and subscribe.